11 is back, and that single fact quietly changes everything we thought we knew about Stranger Things. A brand new prequel is rewriting the rules of the franchise, pulling 11 into a story that introduces a never-before-mentioned character, revives long-forgotten upside-down dangers, and subtly shifts the timeline in ways that could threaten canon itself. Tales from 85 takes us back to Hawkins, but not the Hawkins we remember. This version is frozen, snow-covered, and hiding monsters the main series never showed us. It brings back toxic upside-down spores, resurrects threats the show almost erased, and raises uncomfortable questions fans can't ignore. Why was this character never mentioned? Why did the Upside Down stop being deadly? And what if the scariest version of Stranger Things was abandoned on purpose? 11 is officially returning in a brand new Stranger Things release, and its release window has now been revealed. Even more interesting, this project explores something the Netflix series rarely touched, and the timing couldn't be more perfect. Nearly a month after the Stranger Things finale aired, the show is still dominating Netflix's global charts, sitting comfortably in the top 10 most-watched TV series worldwide. That alone proves the franchise's grip hasn't weakened. While the main story may be over, the world of Stranger Things is far from finished. Several spin-offs are already in development, expanding the universe in bold new directions. And after Season 5 left 11's ultimate fate open to interpretation, fans have been hungry for more stories centered on her. This new release may not continue her story exactly where the show ended, but it does confirm one thing: 11's journey isn't over. Netflix previously confirmed that the first official Stranger Things spin-off would be an animated series titled Stranger Things, Tales from 85, set between seasons 2 and 3. During this period, 11 is very much alive, though she will be recast for the animated format, as Millie Bobby Brown has naturally aged out of the role. The animated series is scheduled to premiere sometime in 2026, though an exact date hasn't been announced. However, Netflix has now confirmed that Stranger Things, Tales from 85, Chapter Book 1 will be released on September 1st, 2026. The story reunites 11 with Mike, Lucas, Will, Max, and Dustin as they investigate a new mystery in Hawkins. This time, they're joined by a brand new character named Nikki, marking a major expansion of the franchise's established lore. Their investigation begins with something deceptively simple: a lost and found box contaminated by upside-down spores. From there, the danger spreads, literally, through Hawkins. One of the most surprising reveals: Hawkins is completely covered in snow. For longtime fans, this is a first. Outside of a brief scene where Hopper leaves Eggos for 11 in a snowy forest, the original series almost never showed Hawkins in winter. A frozen town changes everything, visually, emotionally, and narratively. Seeing the group face the upside down in an unfamiliar, icy version of Hawkins promises a completely different experience. Created by Eric Robles, Tales from 85 is set during the winter of 1985, firmly between seasons 2 and 3. To put that into perspective, Season 2 focused on Will's possession by the Mind Flayer and 11 hiding in Hopper's cabin. Season 3 jumped ahead to the Russian lab beneath Starcourt Mall. Tales from 85 lives in the dangerous space between those arcs. According to early details, the series introduces brand new monsters never seen in the main show. The tone is said to be more adventure-driven and family-oriented, leaning into mystery rather than pure horror. But that doesn't mean the stakes are lower. The biggest risk comes from Nikki. She exists only in Tales from 85. She's never mentioned in the main series, not once. That alone has sparked intense fan theories. Many believe Nikki won't survive the story, which would explain her absence. Others think her family may leave Hawkins after the events become too intense. But even that explanation raises questions. If she was truly part of the group, why was she never mentioned again, not even in moments when the kids were alone? Introducing a new character into a tightly defined timeline is dangerous. If handled poorly, it could create plot holes and contradictions that weaken the franchise's foundation. Tales from 85 must be extremely careful with how Nikki is integrated and how her story ends. Beyond character concerns, the spin-off also revisits something the original show slowly abandoned: fear itself. In early seasons, the Upside Down was terrifying because it was hostile, toxic, and unpredictable. The air was dangerous. The spores mattered. Simply being there felt like a risk. You didn't need a monster on screen to feel dread. As the series progressed, that fear faded. Characters moved freely through the Upside Down with fewer consequences, turning it into a battleground instead of a living threat. That's why the return of spores is so important. By making contamination central again, Tales from 85 brings the danger directly into everyday life. Objects spread the threat. Hawkins itself becomes infected. The line between worlds blurs in unsettling ways. This approach doesn't need bigger monsters. It needs smarter fear. If Tales from 85 leans into that idea, restoring the Upside Down as something poisonous, unstable, and uncontrollable, it won't just expand the lore. It may finally remind us why Stranger Things was terrifying in the first place. In the end, Stranger Things, Tales from 85 isn't just another spin-off. It's a quiet test of how much this franchise is willing to remember who it once was. For years, Stranger Things thrived on mystery. The fear didn't come from knowing too much, but from knowing almost nothing. The Upside Down wasn't explained, it was endured. It was hostile, unpredictable, and alive in ways that didn't need dialogue or exposition. The air itself felt wrong. The spores mattered. Every step carried risk. Somewhere along the way, that fear faded. As the series grew bigger, louder, and more ambitious, the Upside Down slowly became familiar. Characters learned how to survive it. The danger became manageable. And when fear becomes manageable, it stops being fear. It becomes spectacle. That's why Tales from 85 matters. 11's return in Tales from 85 isn't just fan service. It fundamentally alters how we're forced to view the entire Stranger Things timeline. For years, 11 has been the emotional and narrative core of the franchise. Every major turning point in the series traces back to her existence. The opening of the gate, the government experiments, the Mind Flayer's reach, and ultimately Vecna's rise. Even when she wasn't physically present, her absence shaped the story. That's why bringing her back into a previously unseen chapter of the timeline carries enormous weight. Tales from 85 takes place during one of the most fragile periods in 11's life. She's no longer trapped in the lab, but she isn't free either. She's hiding, learning, adjusting to the idea of friendship while still carrying the trauma of isolation and experimentation. This version of 11 is emotionally raw, powerful, but unstable, and still discovering who she is outside of survival mode. That alone makes this prequel dangerous, in a good way. The original series skipped over this period almost entirely. Season 2 ends with the Mind Flayer seemingly defeated and the group trying to reclaim normalcy. Season 3 jumps forward into bright colors, malls, and Cold War paranoia. The quiet, uncomfortable in-between period was never explored. Tales from 85 steps directly into that silence. And silence is where fear thrives. By placing 11 back at the center, the story has the chance to show something the main series rarely slowed down enough to examine: how living next to the Upside Down changes people, even when nothing is actively attacking them. Fear doesn't turn off just because the gate is closed. Trauma doesn't reset between seasons. This is also where the return of spores becomes crucial. In early Stranger Things, the Upside Down wasn't just another dimension, it was an ecosystem. Breathing its air was dangerous. Touching its surfaces carried consequences. It felt invasive, like it wanted to spread. Over time, that aspect faded. Characters walked through it without masks. The environment stopped mattering. Tales from 85 reverses that mistake. By reintroducing contamination as a threat, the story reframes the Upside Down as something insidious again. Something that doesn't need monsters to cause damage. And 11, who is psychically connected to that world, is the perfect character to explore what that means. Her powers don't just fight the upside down, they connect her to it. That raises unsettling questions. Does she sense the spores before anyone else? Does exposure affect her differently? Could her abilities make her both the solution and the catalyst for danger? These are the kinds of questions the main series never had time to ask, and they matter. 11 returning during this fragile, unexplored chapter suggests that Tayles from 85 isn't interested in escalation. It's interested in consequence. It's about what happens when the danger doesn't announce itself, when the threat spreads quietly, and the heroes don't yet understand what they're dealing with. That alone sets this spin-off apart. No element of Tayles from 85 is more controversial or more dangerous than Nikki. Introducing a brand new character into the core friend group during a tightly defined timeline is a narrative gamble few franchises survive. Stranger Things, in particular, has built its identity on emotional continuity. Characters remember, trauma lingers, relationships leave scars. So when a new character suddenly appears, one who seems close enough to join the group, it immediately creates a problem. Because Nikki doesn't exist later. She isn't mentioned, she isn't referenced. She doesn't appear in flashbacks, memories, or emotional callbacks. In a story where the smallest moments are remembered years later, that absence is deafening. This forces Tayles from 85 into a corner. If Nikki is truly important, the story must explain why she vanishes completely from the narrative memory of the group. Not vaguely, not conveniently, convincingly. One popular theory is that Nikki dies. Death would explain her absence, but it also creates another issue. Stranger Things has never treated death casually, especially among children. If Nikki dies, it would leave a lasting emotional impact, yet that impact is never visible later. Another theory suggests Nikki leaves Hawkins. That explanation feels safer, but it still doesn't fully solve the problem. The group talks about the past constantly. They revisit shared experiences. Someone that close wouldn't simply disappear from memory. Which leads to a more unsettling possibility. What if Nikki's fate is tied directly to the upside down? What if she doesn't just leave Hawkins, but is erased from it? The upside down has always distorted reality. Time behaves strangely. Memory is unreliable. If Tayles from 85 explores contamination, spores, and environmental threat, it opens the door to something far darker. The idea that proximity to the upside down can rewrite existence itself. If Nikki is altered, displaced, or lost in a way that fractures memory, her absence could become a feature, not a flaw. But that kind of storytelling requires precision. Handled well, Nikki could become one of the most tragic characters in the franchise, a reminder that not everyone survives the cracks between worlds. Handled poorly, she becomes a plot hole that weakens everything around her. This is why fans are nervous. Stranger Things works best when it respects emotional logic as much as narrative logic. Characters don't forget people who mattered. They carry them. If Nikki mattered, her story must justify the silence she leaves behind. Tayles from 85 doesn't get a second chance at this. Once canon is broken, it stays broken. By returning to a smaller, more intimate story, set in a frozen Hawkins, centered on contamination rather than conquest, this prequel has the opportunity to restore what was lost. The decision to bring back toxic spores isn't just a nostalgic callback. It's a statement. It says that the environment itself is dangerous again. That survival isn't guaranteed. That mistakes have consequences. And perhaps most importantly, it reminds us that the upside down doesn't need a face to be terrifying. It also forces us to confront something the main series avoided: the cost of proximity. What happens when danger spreads not through portals or monsters, but through everyday objects? When fear isn't confined to another dimension, but quietly seeps into homes, schools, and streets. That kind of horror is harder to fight, and it's far more unsettling. But the biggest question hanging over Tayles from 85 isn't about monsters or spores. It's about Nikki. Her existence challenges the franchise in a way no creature ever could. Because if she truly becomes part of the group, then her absence later can't be ignored. Her fate has to mean something. Whether she dies, leaves Hawkins, or disappears in a way we don't yet understand, the story must earn that silence. If it doesn't, it risks doing what every franchise fears most, breaking its own mythology. And yet, that risk is also what makes Tales from '85 exciting. This isn't a sequel playing it safe. It's a prequel stepping into a narrow gap in the timeline and daring to leave a mark. It's asking whether Stranger Things can expand without over-explaining, whether it can revisit old fears without diluting them, and whether it can tell a meaningful story without undoing what came before. Most importantly, it asks whether 11's story still has layers left to uncover. Because 11 has always represented more than power. She represents survival, trauma, and the cost of being different. Bringing her back into a story where the threat is subtle, environmental, and unavoidable could be exactly what her character needs. One final reminder that strength isn't just about fighting monsters, but about enduring the unknown. If Tales from '85 succeeds, it won't just add another chapter to the franchise. It will reframe how we understand the entire series. It will remind us that the scariest version of Stranger Things wasn't about villains or final bosses. It was about not knowing if the world around you was safe to breathe. And maybe, just maybe, that version was never gone. It was only waiting to return. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Tales from '85 will fix what the main series lost? Or do you think it risks breaking the canon forever? What do you believe happens to Nikki? And why was she never mentioned again? Do you want Stranger Things to stay mysterious? Or do you prefer answers? Drop your theories in the comments. I read every single one. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives into Stranger Things, upcoming spin-offs, hidden lore, and stories Netflix doesn't fully explain, hit the like button. It helps this video reach other fans like you. And if you don't want to miss future updates on Tales from '85, season gaps, or the next evolution of the Stranger Things universe, subscribe and turn on notifications. The upside down may be changing, but we'll be here to break it all down. Because in Hawkins, the story is never really over.